Hey everyone, as you can probably tell and as you probably saw from the thumbnail and the headline image, or the not headline image, title text of this video, we are working on a slight redesign of the new Nissan Z Proto. I've been seeing a lot of talk about people not liking it. Well, they specifically don't like the front end, which I kind of understand because the grille is too big and it's flat and it's just kind of strange considering the rest of the design of the rest of the car, but overall I actually quite like it a lot. Looks like a modern 240Z to me. But anyway, I decided, well, if a lot of people don't like it and it just came out, this would be a prime opportunity to see what I could come up with, my alternate design ideas. So we have two versions. We have one that looks a little Aston-like, which wasn't intentional. I was trying to make it look like, as you can see here from the beginning, I was doing it poorly. I figured out how to do a better version later down the line in this video, but I was trying to add the bar because old 240s had that chrome front bumper. So I was like, okay, well, what if we just add this little bar that splits the grille in sort of homage to that? And the more I kept working on it, the more I was like, oh, this is looking more and more like an Aston Martin Vantage. The further I get with this. So then I decided, well, what if we just made the grille smaller? Because my biggest gripe with the grille is that it's just too big, not necessarily the design itself. And that's what we figure out a little bit later. Anyway, though, I hope you all enjoyed. I'll be at the end of the video talking about the design a little bit more. I had planned on doing the front and then getting some other dynamic shots and fixing it there, but this took so long, and I had no idea, or I had little idea what it is I wanted to do, that it just ended up being just the front end. So maybe I'll do another one where I work on the rest of, or I do some other images and make the grille smaller because I think that looks better. But anyway, enjoy the video. So let's start with the first version here, and as you can see, I didn't really mess with that much actually. All I did was add the little bar, and then I actually added some vents that came later because I kept looking at those creases in the front bumper there, and all I could think was this car looks malnourished. That's what it looks like with those creases. It just looks like it doesn't have enough flesh on its bones. So I decided, okay, well, why don't we turn this negative into a positive and utilize this area for some vents. Some well-placed vents. And so I actually quite like it. It kind of pinches the face a little bit even then, but at least it's useful. And then to me, it adds a little bit more sportiness to the car. But if we go back to the center here for the massive front grille, as you can see, I tried to add the bar in the middle there to make it look like, make the mouth look less gaping. Make it look less like someone who's surprised and their mouth is just completely open. I tried to make it look a little bit tighter than that, and what ended up happening, in my opinion, is that I made it look a little bit like a early 2000s Aston Martin Vantage. Which, I don't hate that, it's just, it looks less like a 240Z to me now. Less than the original car already did. Other subtle changes include the fact that near what a friend of mine called the Nintendo slots in the upper part of the grille, I tried to round out the corners where the middle bar is, purely because I thought that having it squared off, a lot of people were saying that the front end doesn't fit the rest of the car because the rest of the car is kind of organic and flowy, and then you just have this slab of a face. So I thought about that and was like, okay, well then let's not leave those edges square. Let's round them off, kind of polish them, make it look a little bit less edgy. And so we did that on the bottom side, and we did that on the top near the Nissan badge, and we actually thickened the surface below where it becomes flat. We thickened it just a little bit because I was looking, I saw that and I couldn't help but think to myself, that looks a little thin. That's looking just a little bit thin to me. There's not enough area there. It just looks kind of like origami to me. In a bad way. There's just not enough surface to appreciate there. And so it just looks like a cut. right? Almost looks lazy to me. So I was like, okay, well, let's make it a little bit more intentional and add some volume there, I guess. And so overall, like I said, I'm pretty happy with it. It's just it doesn't look perfectly like a 240Z anymore. I mean, it looks from the face anyway a little bit more like an Aston or a Nissan that's trying to or a 240 that's trying to look like an Aston. But overall, I don't hate it. It's not my favorite though. My favorite is the one that comes after. And then we have the more Nissan looking front end. Now this is my favorite because again, the only thing that I have an issue with the normal front end is that the grille is just too darn big. So what I did here is I selected it, I just made it smaller, I shrinked it a bit, and then fixed obviously what I shrunk. Re-added the vents because I actually quite like that a lot. It pushes the point home that this is a sports car a little bit more to me. And then bada bing, bada boom, Bob's your uncle. It looks better. It looks better to me anyway. The only downside I think with this design is that surface on top of the grille is just a little bit too thick. So what I would do is bring the surface where the Nissan badge is a little bit further down, or at the very least make the rake a little bit more aggressive, so that there's less of a gap between that flat surface that goes all the way to the hood and then, or the flat surface that goes all the way to the hood and then the window cowl and then the flat surface that pretty much wraps around the entire front bumper. You'll also notice that the front splitter here, where it has those two character lines that split it, is a little bit taller now. So it looks a little bit more like a snowplow, but I think that that's a fine trade-off for a grille that doesn't make the car look as front heavy or the face as gawping. So I think that's a good trade-off, and honestly, that would be a simple fix. I think if they just made the grille smaller, all they'd have to do is make the grille smaller for the actual 400Z, and that would solve the front end tremendously. And then I'd say add the vents, because again, that to me pushes the point home that it's a bit more of a sports car, makes the car look, to me, it still looks like the face is a little bit pinched, like when a grandma pinches a granddaughter or grandson's face, but it's a little less obvious to me now because I see vents rather than a pinched face or a malnourished face. So I prefer that. But anyway, what do you guys think? Do you prefer the version 1, which is the Aston look, or this simple change where I just made the grille smaller? Let me know in the comments below. It was a pain in the butt to try and figure out what I was doing. I should have thought it through, figured out what kind of design I actually wanted to make. But anyway, I hope you all enjoyed. If you did enjoy, then please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Hitting a little notification bell and all notifications, that way you'll be notified every time I